All right, so guys.
What's this twist?
Okay, so we had Top Gun Maverick, and it was fantastic. Everyone loved it, especially Brett. Brett loved it. Just talking like that. China is making their own version of Top Gun Maverick.
Everybody
their
wants
own ripoff. And it says China prepares to debut Top Gun ripoff during Communist holiday.
That sounds like they just took the original Top Gun and edited things out that they found too patriotic, but no, they're really making...
Top Commie. That'll be called Top Commie, no?
I mean, what do we know about the storyline so far?
So it says, the most prominent film debuting on Saturday, officially the National Day, is called Born to Fly, a film about Chinese communist military pilots who test out state-of-the-art fighter jet technology. The patriotic military film appears clearly inspired by a global blockbuster, Top Gun Maverick, one of the highest-grossing films of all time. China banned it from its theaters for reportedly being too favorable to America. By that, they mean literally favorable at all.
Yeah.
Like, literally. They're so spoiled by Hollywood being so anti-America that they're not used to anything being pro-America at all. And also because they had the Taiwanese flag on his jacket.
Right.
Well, nothing is good enough for the CCP, because if we send them a movie, like if we export a movie that isn't patriotic or masculine enough, then it won't be accepted there, won't be shown there.
Yeah,
and then if
thing.
it's too masculine and if it's too patriotic, then it can't be accepted either. So ultimately, we're just getting iced out.
I also want to point out that they do point out a lot here where they talk about the difference between patriotic films and military propaganda, which is a very fine line.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Like what? Well, I'll ask this question. What is the difference?
So you can and should be patriotic to your country without needing to have the military in the picture.
Or the government, to your country, to its citizenry.
I talked about patriotism the other day on one of my Twitter spaces, and I was talking about how patriotic I am and why it has nothing to do with the American government.
Yeah.
I love the American people. I love our beautiful country.
I
love
think
how
this
generous we are.
I think
You
that's
could even
where
have a movie that has an anti-war sentiment, and it's still a patriotic film.
Right. You could be anti-military.
I think this is where like the right and the left lose each other on a lot of things, because the right people on the right can be very critical of government, very critical of the military, but there's still a deep underlying sense of patriotism that I don't feel that many on the left feel anymore. That there's a deep... I was listening to an old song from a group called London After Midnight, and they have, now I can't remember the name of the song I was listening to is Demon, but they have a song that's called, it's literally called like America as a Parasite or something like that.
What?
And it's like there's an underlying hatred for the country as a whole there,
including the people.
Whereas I feel like people more right-leaning, who back in the day would have been probably more militarily inclined, but now that center-right is kind of more populist or like disenfranchised left liberals, somebody like me, who I still consider myself fairly liberal in my belief system. Like, I never understood the dislike for your own country, which I always noticed from my friends, right? It never made any sense to me because they all had good lives.
Right.
Like, they were all born into decent families. They grew up in middle-class suburbs. Maybe they were on the lower end of that socioeconomic scale in that community, but they weren't struggling to eat.
This is the definition of good times making.
Yeah.
Not weak, but ungrateful men.
Yeah.
People who don't appreciate what life could be like.
And most of them had also never traveled out of the U.S., so they didn't really understand. There was no perspective.
It's exactly that that attitude that you say prompted movies like American Beauty.
Yeah.
The boredom with how comfortable it is to be American comes out in movies, and it feels so empty to watch films like that.
Yep. And that kind of went away after like Occupy Wall Street and the banks failed and everyone's 401ks went away. Now they're like, maybe that 9 to 5 with a pension wasn't so bad after all. But like, to me, there is a distinct difference between patriotism, love of country, and being just beholden to the military and the government, right?
Exactly.
In China, you're forced to be beholden to the military and the government, but I think a lot of them buy in, from what I see, a lot of them seem to buy into it as well, but they might not have the ability to, with so much censorship.
You can't have a career as a celebrity in China. We were talking about this the other day,
unless
you toe the line.
Right.
And it also, if in your personal life you're found to be guilty of not just like personal dysfunction like drug use or or whatever, sexual
Video game
improprieties, if you are politically incorrect there, which they have a much different standard for than we do, obviously.
They have a social credit system.
If you are politically incorrect, then they can require broadcasting networks to blacklist you, ban you.
Right.
You can't have a career anymore. So, and also there's a control on how much you can be paid as an entertainer in China, because if you had too much money, it would allow you the freedom to move.
Also, similar to Britain, they don't want to exalt their celebrities the same way
And
we
I think
do
that's
here.
a great thing.
That's
actually.
a great, yeah, like
On
we-
accident, but they're right on that.
Here,
Yeah.
we like the problem is we give too much meaning in reverence to celebrities that don't actually deserve it. When you're looking to, they talk in that article that we were looking at yesterday. Like the first thing a lot of people do in China, is they look to celebrities for what to think.
That's why they're tools of the state.
Yeah, here we do that, but we're not being told to. We just do it because we're dumb. Like
Of our own accord,
well,
we have failed to.
Did you guys see that Meghan Markle thought she'd be the Beyonce of the UK?
What?
Cringe, right? Super cringe.
She's not even a musician. What did she mean by that?
She thought she would be super famous, popular, and beautiful, and then it turned out that the UK doesn't view celebrities like we do here. So she's
and that's funny too, because
Yeah.
from what I understand, they actually view the royals as their version of celebrities more so than actors and actresses and musicians.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, like think about the worship for someone like Princess Di.
and they made it about race. That could also just be about borders. Like that just should just be that they just didn't feel like it's got nothing to do with her race. It's got to do with the fact that she's an outsider.
Right.
That she's
The UK
not.
does have a different celebrity or a different view of celebrities and of royalty, but I think they seem to have like they're more starstruck by musicians
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have good
than by
musicians, to be
movie
fair.
stars.
Yeah.
And that's interesting
Theater is a
because-
lot different, and films and TV shows are a lot different in their minds than music acts
in
the UK.
In the UK, yeah, but
Yeah.
also
Don't you think?
Korea, they because their musicians are made on the factory line of being like the exact perfect version of what they want.
Hugely different.
Hugely different, and yeah, they've also got and I also argue that their theater performers are more highly revered by their public than their actual movie stars and actors, because theater is so much more prevalent out there than it is here, from what I understand. So it says China has dramatically increased its investment in the national film industry, particularly in propaganda movies, which it refers to as patriotic fare. While the movies tend to not be enjoy much success outside of Chinese borders, the Communist Party pressures its citizens to watch them, describing watching pro-communist films as a citizen's duty and mandating viewings in schools. China operates a national social credit system that grades citizens based on their perceived loyalty to the regime and bans people with low scores from using public services like transportation, which also pressure citizens to make time to watch patriotic films out of fear that they are not doing so, that not doing so will lower their social credit scores. I mean, you could do that here with Uber banning you for saying the wrong thing.
Banks banning
You for saying the wrong thing. The movie's called Born to Fly. I was hoping they'd call it Top Gun China.
Yeah, Top Gun China.
Top Gun China.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So I would love to, this is I guess that's their Tom Cruise.
It's gonna have English subtitles, so
Oh, interesting.
How would we?
let's watch it. Let's see if it's any
Yeah, there you
good.
go.
It's also
Terrible.
funny. It's also funny because Top Gun Maverick actually didn't do all that horribly outside of the U.S.
Sure it didn't.
It actually did pretty well.
It
Considering
wasn't nearly as heavy-handed with the patriotism
No.
and pro-America stuff as the first one was. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. It is a sign of the times.
I was watching something the other day, and I'm not even going to try to pause and remember the actor's name because I'm not going to remember, but I was watching something, and it was an actor who was supposed to be in the original Top Gun, and he pulled out because he didn't agree with the movie's Cold War politics, which I respected a lot
Yeah,
more
sure.
at that time because it was very clearly there was no social capital to be gained from not taking that role at the time because it was a very it was still fairly pro-America for the country to be making movies like that. So by doing it at that time when there was no benefit to it, he actually was standing on his principles.
That's how you know if someone's being
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Like-
follow your conscience. Like
Have a conscience.
whether
That's the first
it's
step.
right. Yeah, whether it's that you choose not to participate in a film because of its message or theme, or if it's because you want to insert your message into a film, even if it's one we disagree with,
Yeah.
you know, go for it and see how it goes for you. Will you make your money back?
So, do you have an interest in seeing Born to Fly? 'Cause
Yeah.
it says the Born to Fly trailer
Yes.
mirrors the aesthetics of the Top Gun series with inferior video game quality CGI graphics. This sounds awesome.
Shock. Sounds good, right?
It offers little in the way of the movie's plot other than the fact that the pilots will be flying jet models that have yet to be confirmed safe for use. The website
Oh,
Asian
boy.
Film Fans is reporting on the trailer. The guy in the front kind of looks like Shohei Ohtani, the pitcher for the California Angels.
That's funny.
Came here. I love it. So it says it has already made 26 million.
26 million.
Yeah.
Yen?
Interesting.
Yeah. Is it yen?
Yeah, would be
YUAN.
Yeah, yen.
That's 3.6 million American in pre-sales alone when the film's trailer debuted last month. So the state newspaper reported that the film promised to feature real-life fighter jet models in use by the Chinese People's Liberation Army Air Force.
So it's totally propaganda.
You know, the funny thing is, like you said, Maverick had very little. It was like generic villain. The best you could say is like they have like the full-size American flags and they're featured fairly prominently. And that was about as pro-America because that actually makes sense to have in an like in a hangar.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I'm actually surprised most of the time when I see them actually include flags.
Yeah.
Like that always boggles.
So
my-
weird, right?
I always expect them to change them.
They toned it down for Maverick.
Yeah, but I love
lot.
the original Top Gun. I love the original Top
Hard to
Gun.
beat.
What if they used Danger Zone in this movie? That'd be really funny.
But
a Chinese
Yeah,
version of it?
a cover of it.
Yeah.
Like that.
We are not going to imitate that right now.
No, it's not.
I'm not good.
Yeah.
Have
We
you-
are not going to get clipped.
Have you ever seen any of the videos of Trey Parker and Matt Stone doing all of the offensive accents, like in the
No.
studio?
That's
No.
awesome.
It's so much funnier if you actually see them doing the voice themselves.
Amazing.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.